Today on Fix My Oculus, I'm going to show you how to fix a Quest 3 controller with a broken trigger. This poor little controller was sent in to us a couple days ago, and while I didn't get the full story on it, it's definitely seen some action. We've got some pretty intense cracks and chips all over the place, and not to mention these marks on the faceplate. Our poor little joystick's pretty worn out. This end almost looks like it was painted or maybe super glued together. But what I got sent in for was this. The trigger either won't depress all the way or depresses all the way and then gets stuck, which is fairly consistent with a lot of the trigger repairs I've done in the past. The way the trigger mechanism works on the Quest 3 and 3S controller is that it's really just this piece of plastic, and then it's got a little rod that goes through the center and holds it in at these 2 points on either side of the main frame here. The spring is loaded into the trigger and then sits right here on the motherboard, which gives us our capacitance sensor and our full range of movement. When you see a trigger that isn't working or is getting stuck like this one, it usually means that one of those plastic mechanisms either on the trigger itself or on the main frame has broken. It's possible that the spring has just come out of place, but that's a lot less likely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it apart to see exactly what is going on, and then we're going to do our best to fix it. For this repair, you will need a screwdriver with a T5 bit. Tweezers really come in handy. I use tweezers on almost every repair to grab small ribbon cables and move things in and out of place. And a nice spudger or pry tool really helps remove the faceplate. I'm not exactly sure what the broken mechanism on this controller is yet, so I can't tell you exactly what parts you may need. I would recommend watching the full tutorial video before you decide to repair this yourself or purchase any components or tools from our website. And just one more note here, we are still running the Quest 3 giveaway through the end of the month, so if you've not had a chance to check that out, please check the link in the bio. All right, let's get started on this. So first things first, I'm going to take my pry tool and we're going to go around the edge here. And we just want to sever the adhesive. You want to be careful not to go too deep here because there is an LED ribbon strip that goes around the outside of the faceplate. You can see exactly where those LEDs are located here. I'm going to take my pry tool and I'm going to come in just right around where 12 o'clock is. And we're going to go straight down and sever the adhesive that sits between the B button and the joystick. There's adhesive that runs all through here, and the more that we can sever, the easier it is to take the faceplate off. Now upon first glance, it does look like there may be some liquid that got into this controller. It's possible that this is just adhesive from inside the controller, but based on the amount of debris and dirt that is just on the outside here, I'm going to guess that that is not supposed to be there. We can't really know if there's any corrosion or liquid damage on the motherboard until we actually get in there. But I can put a battery in here to see if we get LED activation. And it looks like we do. So there's at least power getting to the board and to the LED array, which is good news. Next, I'm going to take my screwdriver here and we're going to take out all the screws in the faceplate except for this one. We're going to leave this screw in. This screw holds the faceplate down to this battery compartment here, and this actually makes taking the controller apart just a little easier. Next, I'm going to remove this sticker that sits in the battery compartment. I'm sure you can use different tools to do this. I just find that tweezers help me both get underneath the sticker and pull the sticker up pretty efficiently. Next, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in the battery compartment. Now that all my screws are out, I should be able to pull these shell frame parts away from the main body of the controller, which is this front faceplate part with the buttons and the board underneath it and the battery compartment. The only real variable to look out for here is that because there's something broken underneath here, we may lose some parts along the way, just disassembling it. Normally I should be able to pull this grip portion out. We'll just pull that out from the top to the bottom. Perfect. We want to make sure that we unplug this haptic feedback cable here. And then this antenna needs to come out as well. Just straight up from the board, like that. And now this main shell frame can just pop off. Unsurprisingly, it looks like what happened here was that rather than the trigger or the spring or the rod breaking themselves, it looks to me like these little pieces of plastic that hold the trigger rod in place just broke off. What I'm not sure about is where the second one went, because so far only one has come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything off this main assembly here and swap it out with a replacement one. Barring that we don't find anything else going on inside the controller that could make it unrepairable or exceed the cost of just replacing the controller. like severe liquid damage. We need to make sure that we undo this battery cable latch. That's one thing that everybody seems to miss on the Quest 2 controllers as well when they're doing the DIY repairs. And then after that, we can finally take out this last screw that holds these two components together. And with that screw gone, these two pieces just pop apart. This cable here goes to our LED array. We'll pop that loose, remove that, and then this one goes to our joystick, so we can remove that as well. And now I've got two screws that hold my motherboard in. We'll go ahead and remove those. One of the nice things about repairing these controllers is that they pretty much just use one type of screw, except for the long screw that sits in the faceplate. But that one's super obvious, so a lot of organization on this repair is not entirely necessary. It does appear that there's a little gunk here on this capacitance spring. We're going to go ahead and try and clean that off with some isopropyl alcohol before we reinstall this. That's looking better. Gonna go ahead and clean off this as well. That looks super worn compared to what I'm used to seeing on these controllers. Whoever owns this controller is a little trigger happy. I think that's as good as we're gonna get it. These buttons came out a little crusty too. I'm gonna go ahead and clean those off as well. Actually, I'm just gonna take all four of these pieces, go throw them in the sonic cleaner real quick, and then bring them back. All right. Just got back from the sonic cleaner, and my buttons and trigger and this grip portion are now nice and clean, except for that little scuff there. We'll take that off later. Alrighty, go ahead and remove our joystick from this old assembly. So now we can go ahead and put our joystick in. And just remember, this portion of the capacitance spring needs to sit on the inside, and the flex ribbon cable needs to sit on the outside. So that way, this can touch the motherboard when it's seated, and this can wrap up and over to get plugged in. Now our buttons should just pop in place. Perfect. And then we'll line up the buttons on the board with the buttons on the frame. And there's only two places I want to screw, even though there's a couple different holes here. We'll put a screw right here, and we'll put another screw right here, just like that. Now with your handy dandy tweezers, we can plug the LED array in and latch that down. And then we'll grab this end and slide that in. Perfect. And now the moment of truth. You can see how this trigger spring is bent here. We're going to line these arms up and feed them in. One of these is definitely more reluctant to go home than the other one, so we're just going to guide it in there. Alrighty, that looks like it's good to me. I've got visual clearance, and then we're going to make sure that this part of the spring seats right there on the board. Hold that firmly in place. Run that rod straight through to hold things in place. Alrighty, we're good to go. Don't be afraid to wiggle these around just a little bit when you're trying to move them in. Sometimes the alignment is not perfect, and just a little bit of wiggling as you force your way down or force your way out will help you move the rod into proper placement. Next, we're going to go ahead and put our battery compartment back on. This can actually be fairly easy because this tooth here on the battery compartment right there just aligns with the black plastic component here. And as I seat those together, that is more or less now in place. And then we just need to put our screw in here to hold it there. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and pop this battery cable back in. I can just hold that there with my finger and then press the latch down ever so gently. If you break that, it's a big bummer. So just be careful with it. I don't like the fact that there's a lot of cracks in this grip assembly here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off with some isopropyl alcohol, and then we're going to put some super glue and baking soda compound in here, just very gently to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. I use this really thin modeling glue when I'm doing this. It takes a very small amount to get the job done, and it really gets into every crack and cranny of devices that have cracks and crannies to get into. And now with that combination of baking soda and super glue, that'll hold really firm, even if it doesn't look like it's brand new. One thing I can and will do is take a sanding block like this one and smooth this out. I can also use this sanding block to take out some of the little scuffs and dings that are just kind of everywhere on this particular controller. It's not factory new, but it's a big improvement. Next, we'll go ahead and line this up by shooting that trigger right through the hole on the grip assembly. Make sure that these cables don't get tucked in here. Go ahead and clip this haptic feedback motor back in, and we'll go ahead and hook this Bluetooth antenna back in. Looking great. And then we've got one more piece that we'll just clip in here at the bottom. And this eyelet should sit between the black frame and the grip portion. So it's a bit of a balancing act getting it in there. But it really should all just pop together. That's looking pretty good. Next, we'll go ahead and put our screws back in. We'll start with these screws in the battery compartment. Like I mentioned earlier, these screws are really not specific to any particular spot except for the one long screw. The one long screw does need to go right here, kind of between the A button and the joystick. Just remember, not every hole is a screw hole, so if you need to pause this video and take a screenshot, do that so that you don't get it mixed up. Still not sure what this goopy stuff is here, but I didn't see a whole lot of liquid inside the controller. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off with some isopropyl alcohol anyway. And I did kind of forget that I wanted to change out the joystick topper on this controller. So if you follow my videos, you've probably seen my short on this, but you can actually take this joystick out without having to take everything else out, even though it doesn't look like it fits. The secret sauce here is in making sure that the bottom of the joystick and the top of the joystick module are kind of angled down so that it fits inside just like that. And then we can go ahead and put our cover back on. And I wouldn't say that this is necessarily repairable, but it is kind of ugly to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and scuff this up a little bit too with my sanding block just to make it a little less ugly. And then we got one little mark over here that I'm sure they won't mind me taking off for them. So as you can tell, it's definitely not a brand new controller, but it's in a lot better condition than when we first got it. And the trigger works, which is a big bonus if you're trying to play with this. You almost might say it's a necessity for the trigger to work if you're going to play with this controller. If you're attempting this repair at home, I really hope that this tutorial helped you out. And if you need help with a repair like this, feel free to reach out to us on our website, fixmyoculus.com. I don't usually have a whole lot of parts in stock for these particular controllers, just because they're a lot newer than some of the controllers we work on. But if you're looking for parts or you're trying to acquire something specific, feel free to reach out to us because we'll always do our best to help. One more quick note about the giveaway. It does end January 31st, so if you've not had a chance to enter yet, please do sign up. It's free to enter, and you get more entries for every little thing that you do. The giveaways have really been helping us grow our channels, and as our channels grow, we get to reach more people who might potentially need help and services like the ones that we provide. Anyway, guys, I hope this helped, and I appreciate you watching. We will see you on the next one.